Back, everyone. Ready for another deep dive?
Always.
Today, we're going to be looking at something pretty fascinating, the intersection of hemp, space exploration, and sustainability.
Hmm, that's a pretty unique combination.
We'll be diving into this Llewellyn post-hemp Earth and Space Project proposal, and we've got this overview of in-space manufacturing and sustainability to give us some extra context.
Feels ambitious.
It is. Get this. The project actually aims to use hemp from the Oglala Sioux tribe to build spacecraft.
Wow, hemp spacecraft, huh? That's definitely not something you hear every day.
Right. But stick with us because we're going to unpack how this plant, hemp, could play a surprising role in humanity's future in space. And at the same time, it could help heal our planet.
I'm intrigued. Using hemp to reach for the stars and heal the Earth, huh?
Exactly. It might seem like a stretch at first,
It kind of does.
but when you really start digging into hemp's incredible properties, I think the idea starts to make a lot more sense.
Okay, you've piqued my curiosity. Let's hear what makes hemp so special.
Well, let's start with what's probably familiar territory, hemp's sustainability benefits here on Earth. Everyone's talking about its potential for fighting climate change, but can you break down exactly how it helps?
Absolutely. Hemp is incredibly efficient at capturing carbon dioxide from the atmosphere. We're talking 1 acre of hemp can absorb 10 tons of CO2 each year.
10 tons. That's a lot.
It is. To put it in perspective, that's actually more than the average home emits annually. And it's not just about carbon sequestration.
Right. Hemp does more than just capture carbon.
Yeah, hemp can actually help clean up soil and water that's been contaminated by hazardous materials.
Interesting. So it's like a natural purifier.
You could say that. And the proposal specifically mentions its potential use around NASA launch sites, which, well, they've dealt with their fair share of pollution over the years.
That makes a lot of sense. Cleaning up the environmental impact of space exploration right here on Earth, that seems like a pretty solid first step.
Right.
But I gotta admit, the idea of a hemp spacecraft is still throwing me for a loop. What would even be the advantage of using hemp in space?
Well, let's think about some of the challenges of space travel. Limited resources, the need for lightweight and durable materials, and of course that environmental impact we're talking about. Hemp has the potential to actually address all of these.
Okay, I'm intrigued. But wouldn't transporting materials like hemp into space, wouldn't that just add to the overall environmental burden?
You bring up a really good point, but this project proposes a really interesting solution, partnering with the Oglala Sioux tribe to source the hemp.
Ah, so utilizing resources that are already here.
Exactly. It
Yeah.
wouldn't just be about providing economic empowerment for the tribe, but it would also utilize hemp that's already being grown sustainably right here on Earth.
So it's like creating this closed loop where the benefits extend from Earth to space and back again.
Precisely. And remember those launch sites we talked about? The project also talks about using hemp to remediate the soil around those sites. So it's really tackling that environmental impact on multiple levels.
It's really making me rethink what's possible when it comes to finding sustainable solutions. It's not just about swapping one material for another, but this whole holistic approach that really considers the entire life cycle and impact.
That's exactly it.
And that's really at the heart of this Llewellyn post-hemp Earth and Space project, isn't it? A vision of space exploration that's not just about reaching for the stars, but also about protecting our planet along the way.
Right on. It's a powerful vision.
But you mentioned limited resources and needing those lightweight materials earlier. Can hemp really compete with the high-tech materials we usually think of for building spacecraft?
That's where things get really interesting. Hemp can be used to create this surprisingly strong and lightweight material. It's called hemp polymer composite.
Hemp polymer composite. Okay, now that sounds like something straight out of a sci-fi movie.
Right. But it's real.
So break that down a bit for me. What is hemp polymer composite?
Imagine combining hemp fibers with other substances to create this material that's both durable and surprisingly light. That's basically what hemp polymer composite is. It's actually similar to carbon fiber, but it has this added benefit of being renewable and sustainable.
Okay, so it's strong, light, and eco-friendly. I'm starting to see how hemp could be a real contender for spacecraft construction. But we're still talking about launching things into space. That takes a lot of energy. How does the project address that side of sustainability?
That's where the whole idea of in-space manufacturing comes into play. The ultimate goal is to create a closed-loop system where we can use resources found in space to build and maintain structures without constantly launching new materials from Earth.
So instead of relying on Earth for everything, we'd be setting up a more self-sufficient system in space.
Exactly. And hemp could play a key role in this vision. Think about it. It could be used for everything from building materials and insulation to biofuels and even life support systems.
Wow, that's amazing. So we've got this hemp spacecraft idea, the sustainable sourcing from the Oglala Sioux tribe, and this really fascinating concept of in-space manufacturing. I'm starting to see how all these pieces fit together, but I'm also realizing just how ambitious this project is.
It's ambitious for sure, but I don't think it's impossible. And what I find really inspiring about this Llewellyn Post-Hemp Earth and Space project is that it's not just presenting a technological solution. It's about challenging our assumptions about what's even possible. It's
Yeah.
about reimagining the future of space exploration in a way that aligns with our values of sustainability and social responsibility.
It's about more than just the destination. It's about how we get there and the impact we have along the way. But let's be realistic. The idea of a hemp spacecraft probably sounds pretty far out to a lot of people.
You're right, it definitely challenges conventional thinking. But that's usually where innovation comes from, isn't it? From questioning what we think we know and exploring these seemingly unconventional solutions.
All right, I'm on board with embracing the unconventional. Now, I'm really curious to dive into the specifics of this hemp Starship prototype. What would it actually look like and how would it actually work?
Well, get ready. We're about to blast off into the details. So are you ready for a closer look at this hemp starship?
Absolutely. Lay it on me. I'm dying to know how they plan to turn all these ambitious ideas into an actual design.
Okay, so first, picture this. A sleek spacecraft. It's roughly 22 meters long with a diameter of about 6 meters.
Okay. So about the size of a small bus, maybe.
Yeah, that's a good way to visualize it. Now, before you go, imagining a woven hemp exterior like some kind of spacefaring wicker basket.
Okay. Yeah, no, I wasn't picturing that.
This thing would be built using a much more sophisticated mix of materials.
Right. It's got to be more than just hemp slapped together.
Exactly. The proposal actually calls for 50% hemp polymer composite. That would be used for the panels and insulation. Then you've got 25% polymer graphite for structural integrity, and 15% steel alloys for that core skeleton, the load-bearing components.
So they're really being strategic, using hemp where it makes sense, and incorporating those other materials for specific purposes. Using the best material for the job. Smart. But what about the systems that would power and propel this thing through space?
Now that's where it gets even more interesting. They've gone with a magnetic ion propulsion system. And get this, it's powered by ionized argon gas.
Ion propulsion. I've heard of that before, but to be honest, it sounds kind of like something out of Star Trek. Is that technology really feasible for a project like this?
Oh, it's becoming more and more realistic all the time. And hold on to your hat because this system is designed to be 90% efficient.
90%, that's incredible.
Yeah, they're using superconducting magnets, which means we're talking about a massive reduction in energy consumption compared to those traditional chemical rockets.
Wow, 90% efficiency. That really is a game changer when it comes to sustainable space travel. But where would they even get the energy to power those superconducting magnets? And, well, the whole propulsion system.
They've thought of that too. The design includes a huge solar wing array. We're talking 200 square meters of solar panels with gold-plated photovoltaic cells.
Hold on, so giant retractable wings soaking up the sun's energy to power the entire craft. That's amazing. It really does feel like they've considered every detail to minimize environmental impact.
They've really tried to think of everything.
But what about the astronauts on board? How would they breathe, eat, survive in this hemp-based spaceship?
That's all accounted for in the plan, too. The Llewellyn Post-Hemp Earth and Space project outlines a closed-loop life support system for the craft.
Closed loop. So like creating this totally self-sustaining environment inside the spacecraft, like a mini Earth.
You got it. It would recycle air and water, even use a biodigester to break down organic waste into biogas, which can be used for auxiliary power.
Wow, so nothing goes to waste. That's incredible. What about air purification? Would they be using maybe hemp filters for that?
You're 2 steps ahead of me. That's exactly what they propose. Hemp filters to absorb CO2 and keep the air clean and breathable for the crew. It really is incredible how they're combining cutting-edge technology with this, with this age-old sustainable plant.
They're not just switching out materials, they're rethinking the entire spacecraft with sustainability as the focus. Now, I know we've been focusing a lot on the Hemp Starship prototype, but the document also talks about hemp's role in those broader Earth-based sustainability efforts, right? I'd love to hear more about that side of the project.
Oh, absolutely. Remember, the Llewellyn Post-Hemp Earth and Space project is just as much of healing our planet as it is about exploring the cosmos.
Right. We already talked about hemp being able to capture carbon and clean up soil, particularly around those launch sites. Are there other ways they see hemp playing a role in Earth-based sustainability?
Well, they propose establishing vast hemp farms. These farms could absorb millions of tons of CO2 every year, not only improving air quality, but also restoring land that's been degraded. They also see hemp as a potential source for biofuels, which could lessen our dependence on fossil fuels. And that's not just for space travel, but for transportation here on Earth, too.
So it's a win-win for both Earth and space exploration. By investing in these hemp-based solutions, we could be tackling the climate crisis and creating a more sustainable future for space travel at the same time.
Exactly. The project really highlights that beautiful connection between solving problems here on Earth and innovating for space exploration. The two can actually feed off each other in some really fascinating ways.
It is inspiring to think we could use our ingenuity not just to reach for the stars, but to protect the planet that launched us into space to begin with.
It's a powerful message. And speaking of powerful messages, this project really emphasizes the importance of collaboration. Remember that partnership with the Oglala Sioux tribe? It goes beyond just sourcing hemp. It's about working together to build a future that's more just and sustainable for everyone.
Absolutely. It's about understanding the value of different perspectives and collaborating to achieve something truly extraordinary. But, part of me can't help but wonder, how realistic is all of this? What kinds of challenges do you think they would face in actually making this vision a reality?
It's a good question. I mean, it's exciting to imagine this future where hemp is playing such a crucial role in space exploration.
It is.
But you're right, there are definitely going to be some hurdles along the way.
So what do you think are the biggest challenges they'd face trying to actually pull this off?
Well, first off, we're talking about a pretty radical shift from conventional spacecraft design.
Right.
So there are going to be some big technical challenges in developing and testing these hemp-based materials to make sure they can actually meet those super demanding requirements of space travel.
Right. It's one thing to use hemp here on Earth, but space is a whole other ballgame. So making sure these materials can stand up to extreme temperatures, radiation, all the stresses of spaceflight, that's going to be crucial.
Absolutely. And even if they can prove that the technology is solid, there's the matter of cost. Developing and putting these new technologies into practice, it's going to require a hefty initial investment. And honestly, that might be a tough sell for some of the people involved.
Yeah, I can see that. Space exploration is already incredibly expensive, and bringing in new materials and technologies probably won't make it any cheaper.
Exactly. And then there's a whole regulatory landscape to consider, too. Right now, there are all sorts of strict regulations surrounding hemp, even for growing and using it here on Earth. So imagine trying to navigate all that in the context of space exploration.
Wow, yeah, talk about uncharted territory, literally.
Right.
And what about public perception? Do you think people would be okay with the whole hemp spacecraft thing?
That's a really good point. Public perception can make or break a project like this. And honestly, there's still a stigma around hemp because people associate it with cannabis. So educating the public, helping them understand that industrial hemp is different and has all these potential benefits, that's going to be really important for getting people on board.
It's amazing to think that something as simple as a plant could lead to such complex discussions. We're talking technology, sustainability, social justice, even public perception. It's all connected.
It really is. And I think this project shows how a seemingly off-the-wall solution like hemp can push us to rethink our approach to space exploration.
It's not just about building a spacecraft, is it? It's about breaking down barriers, exploring new frontiers, and changing what we think is possible. And it's about realizing that the quest for knowledge and exploration, they don't have to be at odds with protecting our planet. It's all about creating a more sustainable and equitable future for everyone.
Couldn't have said it better myself. And while there are definitely some challenges to overcome, the Llewellyn Post-Hemp Earth and Space Project shows us what we can accomplish when we think outside the box, when we collaborate, and when we're dedicated to sustainability.
It's a vision that challenges us to imagine a future where scientific progress and environmental responsibility go hand in hand. A future where exploring the unknown helps us create a better world for everyone.
That's the dream.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, we want to leave you with a question to ponder. If we can imagine a future where hemp helps us reach for the stars sustainably, what other seemingly impossible solutions might be out there just waiting to be discovered?
Right. What other potential solutions are we overlooking?
Perhaps the answers aren't in some far-off galaxy, but right here in front of us. Maybe all it takes is a little ingenuity and a commitment to building a better future. Thanks for joining us on this incredible journey. We hope it sparked your curiosity and inspired you to explore the possibilities of hemp, space exploration, and a more sustainable world.